Prestige Media Group.
So here I am at the end of my Boston chapter, man, like, okay, I'm gonna give this a try. So, first thing that we compromised on, me in April, that she wanted me to come to Texas, was that she wanted me to get a feel for it. So we agreed to do these shows. The first show she had set up was in Austin, Texas. It was the Juneteenth Festival. And that was fly, First time I ever seen a brother with grills and a do-rag riding a horse through the hood. That was the first for me. I started seeing some of that Houston-style fifth wheel, the slabs type thing, man. I was getting reintroduced to my music culture down here in Texas, basically. And then she also set me up to sing at the House of Blues in Dallas. They had a night where they showcased unsigned artists, and I went out there and got a lot of love out there too. So Texas was showing mad love. It was a new scene, new faces, it felt like a new chapter. It felt right. And I was around people I grew up with, pursuing my dreams still. So it's kind of like a full circle. So I was like, yeah, let me try this. It was tough. I was like, let me try this. And as I was leaving Boston and I moved back to Texas, I had realized that Music Connection magazine, the one that's based in all the guitar centers and whatnot, had picked me as one of the top 100 unsigned artists around the nation of that year, alongside with Lecrae and a couple of other people. I was real honored. Sometimes you feel like your work is going in vain, you're going in circles, but if you keep going, sometimes you're doing a lot more than you give yourself credit for. So that was a good way to leave Boston, knowing that Boston had really helped me find myself as a musician, as a man, as a legacy leaver. Boston has a huge place in my heart always. Will always be like another home to me. And I still go up there, of course. My daughter's there. So, me and April started working a little bit. And then, April, she had been here, and we were just having conflict of interest, no disrespect. We just, we parted ways. And then I started working with my cousin Yeezy a lot. And Yeezy was real big into this whole Houston thing. And I had kind of scratched the surface of Houston, but didn't know the history, the sound all the way back. And he was basically telling me, man, Houston, and him and a lot of other people were like, man, if you get Houston, that means you get the rest of Texas. And also the world knows that you're in the building. And I was like, okay, I've been on my international thing, but it can't hurt them. And, let's see what happens. Sure enough, Cuz had done the track for Slide. Charlie had actually shot the video to this jam, and he was telling me, man, this is so Houston right here. If, watch what happens. And I was like, well, do you think so? He was like, yeah, watch. And I went with it, man, and next thing you know, I get this call from the woman herself, Miss Cat TV. Miss Cat said she had heard Slide, she loves Slide. She wanted to put it on a show of hers that she was doing on TV, kind of similar to Music Choice, except for unsigned, independent artists. And because she put Slide on there, also put a little bit of my story. I was like, yeah, hell yeah. And then after that, she started doing events. She did her first networking event ever. And I went down there just to show love, because she showed me mad love. And I was like, hey man, I'm just here to let you know I see what you're doing. Months later, she did her first music event. And the Playlist Showcase. And at that one, she had a lot of, she had J-Dog, she had H-Town, the R&B group, and a lot of radio reps down there. And she had always had me in the mix. She decided to be my manager not too shortly after that. And we just started doing a lot of stuff around Houston, and she was getting getting a real good buzz with me around Houston and just helping me stay organized. In the meanwhile, also, my whole mentality at that point in time wasn't just to be focused on Houston. I had kicked it with French Montana a little bit before I left Boston. You know, he'd come into town, he'd give me a call, we kicked it a couple times. And I started watching his grind. And the thing that I admired about French, y'all see where French is now, but at that point in time, he was going for that, and he looked at himself kind of like a free agent, like a sports free, you know, who got the best thing. He was going down to Miami, he was going around to all these cities and just spreading his music and his character, his flavor around everywhere, and people were really picking up on it. And so when I came back home, that was also my mentality. So I was like, okay, Houston is a place I gotta be frequently going to, messing with Cat. I need to go out to LA. I spent some time out in LA for the first time, seeing how I felt about that scene. Constantly going back to the East Coast. And eventually what ended up happening is my mentality was, you know, whoever's gonna sell the scene to me, that's what I need to be a part of. You know, I need to find my new music home. And in the midst of it, you know, I was making some amazing music with Cuz and other producers all around. That's what I've been doing for years. And I get a call. You know, we put Houston, you know, we'll put Houston to the side right now. During the same time with Houston and floating around all these other places, my daughter's godfather calls me. He had recently lived in New York and he had just moved to London. And he told me, he was like, Jay, I'm filling out the music scene out here, and I've met this dude out here that started this app called BRAP, B-R-A-P-P, look it up now. Basically, he was like, man, go ahead and put you up a couple videos on BRAP, and there's nobody on there like you, dog, you're gonna shake the scene. I was like, dig, I'll definitely do that. And I told Kat about it at that time. She was my mentor. I told her, I was like, man, I'm gonna do these things. I literally went out on my backyard. I went to my backyard nighttime, only the porch light on, bugs everywhere. And I recorded my first video on that app. Then I did another one, That first and that second one, man, caused a lot of weight. It did exactly what he said. And people were like, who is this dude? And then I get a hit up from this cat named Maverick Quest out of Manchester, England. And he's like, who are you and what are you doing? Now, I was like, we started getting a story. He's like, say, man, I want to help you make some of the flyest music you've ever made. That was a big statement. Because if y'all know me, man, you know, I'm not cocky and assholish, but like, I'm very confident in my sound and how I get down. So that was he came to me big dog, and I was like, well, bring it on, Cat Daddy. So we literally, like, and at that point, him and his team, he had a team out there at the time, and they were, you know, gearing up to be an independent label based out of Manchester, England. Fast forward, we start doing records, but we do records in a very 2019 futuristic way where he would send me like drum tracks and like a keyboard track. And then I would call one of my homeboys that I used to play with, you know, or that I knew in Boston. Hey man, call my dude out in DC, Reggie Payne. Hey man, you can play bass on this track. Cool, send me the files, send it out to England. Hey man, you know, my partner died, Miyazaki out in Philly. Hey man, yo, I need you to play guitar on this, man, send me the files. And so I was putting together a band album I always wanted to create, all in my crib. So I literally caught attention from England in my backyard in the 903, you know, okay? So that's going on. That's building up. Houston's building up. And as I can see out of all the places I've been, Houston and London, they were giving me the best opportunities. They were the ones reaching out and really teaming up with me. As we go further into the Houston thing, Kat called me one day and was like, hey man, you know, she's into the film thing too. She's a film director and whatnot. She's going to school for film. And she was like, hey man, I'm involved with this movie called Sunday in Houston. I want to get you in on the acting side, man. And the main character is this Houston rap legend by the name of ESG. And she was real excited. She's like, man, I'll get you in this movie with ESG. Come to the screw shop. I'm like, word. I was trying to be excited with it, but I asked her an honest question. I was like, man, who is ESG? Who is ESG? I had to go back and do my homework before I went down there so I didn't look stupid. So I started, you know, researching the brother's name, going through his catalog, his videos, reading up on his story and the whole SUC and Screw and the whole thing. Sure enough, I pull up, me and Cat pull up to the Screw shop and I meet E, and it was a comedy, so I was wearing these wild ass pink glasses, and he was laughing. I had him laughing already, and then we started shooting shots at each other. You know, wasn't even scripted. We just started making it up as we were going for that particular scene. And he's like, "I like you, man. We gonna work." Fast forward, we go to the studio, Bang Pros, my boy Righteous and them had a studio, and they wanted E to check it out, so ESG came through, and while he's coming into the studio, my anthem's playing, the JTronius. If you hadn't heard it, you know it's epic. So the first thing he hears is JTronius, and he's like, "Who is that?" I'm like, "That's me, bro." Next thing you know, he's like, "Say, man, I need you on my album." And coming out this June 27th, the Southside Still Holding album, I did, you know, one of his most popular songs was G-Ride. And now we're gonna release G-Ride 2. So that was the first record I did with ESG. And from there, he had formed this thing called Trill Republik, which is kind of a branch off the SUC. Since, you know, nobody else can be in the Screwed Up Clique anymore, since Screw died, that was kind of thing how they honored Screw. Now they formed the Trill Republik. So eventually, I first went on tour with them, and you know, once again, shout out to Cat for all this exposure to H-Town, man. And we messed around and started hitting all throughout Texas, Louisiana. I wasn't even part of it. They had already had that group formed, and I was opening for them. And then eventually they saw how I moved, how I performed, my swag, and eventually they asked me to become one of the first original members of the Trill Republik. Still to this day, I still am, saying the South, you know. And I kind of been dibbling and dabbling at that ever since. At the end of the day, y'all, my journey has been vast, you know. I want to show 903 and beyond that you can chase your dreams from nothing. Like, not that I didn't came from, I don't believe in coming from nothing. Everybody comes from something. You know what I'm saying? So my whole thing is that I left this city at 14 years old with music on my mind. Everything else was secondary all my life. Now that I'm a father, that's a little bit different. But you know what I'm saying? I had a dream since I was a kid here in Grayson County. The dream still continues, you know, it's still going. And now I'm a part of Texas, you know, Texas music history really at this point, only being here for 5 years. And now I got the overseas venture, which I'm looking really forward to. And I just want y'all to know to keep striving and that there's multiple lanes. I know a lot of times coming back home, it seems like you can only go one way, you know. It's like, as far as music is concerned, I see a lot of the same thing here. And I need y'all to know that it's important for you to create your own lane, not to follow the masses. I've been doing this for years and years, beating to my own drum. It pays off. And understand that we can always rep the 903. We can rep local, but we think global and beyond. And I just want to be the leader in understanding that we can do that. And there's nothing that we can't do that we can't put our minds to. So understand, at this point, musically, I have no boundaries. I have no genres. I'm the governor of the galaxy, man. I'm a new age funketeer. That's another thing, man. I've been knighted by the grace. I've met a lot of music legends, and I'm on a quest to become one myself. So y'all be on the lookout as I continue to make music, as I continue to rep the 903 like it says on my arm to my leave, as I spread this funky ass soul sound all around all the towns. I'm like Six Flags, y'all. You dig? I'm like Six Flags. I'm planting my flags, and I'm putting my music where the people accept it, embrace it. The government of the galaxy shall funk on. Love you, 903. And another one, ladies and gentlemen, presented to you by JTronius.
Tossing and I'm turning, trying to figure out good, the bad, ups and downs, what we're about. Why am I so confused. On one other hand, things are so cool.